welcome. My name is Tracy. I am the Director of Community Engagement with Tacoma Habitat, and I have got Sandy with me here tonight to talk about chain link fence. So we've got Beth and we've got Megan, or Megan it looks like. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. We had, there's Shanika. Okay, so Shanika is about to join us too. I know Beth has been here before, Megan, I'm not sure about you, and I think Shanika is new. So Sandy will pause at various points throughout the presentation and ask if there's questions. And otherwise, also, if you don't have audio, feel free to enter your questions in a chat and I will try to relay them to Sandy in case, unless I accidentally mute myself again, but I think we're good. So I will stop talking and let Sandy go ahead and take over. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy, and I'm here to present chain link fencing for you. So let's see. There we go. I like this picture of this chain link fence because it's got all that artwork and design in the wire, but that would be really difficult to do. So it's a dream, right? But anyway, so tonight I'm going to be going over tools needed for fencing repair or installation, the different hardware parts that you'll potentially need, new installation, what the steps are, some repair and common issues. And then, like Tracy said, you know, I'll pause for questions, or if there's questions at the end, we can answer those. And then I do have like a couple of little things to demo for you, just to kind of show you here on Zoom. It's kind of difficult to get outside and do a fencing demonstration on a laptop. So I'll do my best in here. So again, if you have any questions, just pipe in with it in the chat or unmute yourself. So the different tools that you would need, string or twine. This is really great for, you know, just kind of measuring between poles. You can tie it across and it'll help give you like a level area to place your posts. And keep them in line, so you've got a nice straight line. You can also, I'll show you a little bit later, I have a little kind of picture that shows you the 3-4-5 method for doing corner posts and how to get the angle right on those. A level, you want to use a level to make sure your posts are level when you place them. Obviously a shovel to dig that dirt out, or a post hole digger if you want. Wheelbarrow or a large bucket for mixing concrete if you don't want to do it directly in the ground. Some quick setting concrete for setting the posts. A pipe cutter or saws. So, you know, there's multiple different ways that you could do it, whatever you're more comfortable with. Some people like reciprocating saws, band saws, hacksaw. My preference is the pipe cutter, and I'll demo that at the end, just to show you how I use the pipe cutter and why I find it much easier than some of the saws. Come along, which I have pictured here. It's the ratcheting contraption to help stretch your fencing mesh, and then a baits or a fencing pliers, which I'll show you in the demo too. And that's the one on the bottom right of the picture. It's got quite a few uses, so it's nice. Fence stretcher, which is the little contraption up at the top picture. Measuring tape, some additional wrenches or pliers are good to have. And of course, your fencing hardware. So this just kind of shows you all the different types of fencing hardware there is. And you may or may not need it depending on what kind of project you're putting together. So I have included quite a few little videos or web documents, links to web documents to help you to determine if you're going to need certain hardware for your project. Your post caps, they've got post cap sizes for your terminal post or for your line post. So you make sure that you get the right size for whichever post that you're putting on. There's different size bands, the tension bands or the brace bands, etc. So again, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting the right size for the posts that you're trying to use the band for. And you'll get a copy of this presentation tomorrow, and you can reference this whenever you need to figure out which type of hardware you need. Sorry, my cat is, I hope you don't hear my cat. I think the water bottle's in the kitchen. So again, just to kind of help visualize, I'm a very visual person. So to help visualize the hardware, I put in a few different pictures here so you can see like where the hardware is used and how it's used. No, all right. On your fence, or if you have a sliding gate, where how you're gonna put that together. So, it's just a really great couple of different pictures to demonstrate that. Does anybody have questions so far? Okay. So when you're doing a new installation, you can do it in 5 general steps. So you want to mark your fence locations. If you do not know what is in the ground, make sure that you call 811 for the local utilities to come and mark if there's any underground utilities. Then, let's see. Yeah, you want to make sure that there's some tables on the internet too that'll help you like determine like how far apart your post should be based off of the amount of fencing you're putting up. But generally, for a small like quarter acre, they're probably about 6 feet apart. And then, for really large acreage or something like that, you can go to 10 feet, but you really don't want to go over 10 feet at all. The second step is setting the post. So using your post hole digger, or I use a narrow shovel. So it's got a narrow head to scoop the dirt out and keep the hole at a reasonable width, because you don't want it like super big, probably about 8 inches in diameter. And then you want to go anywhere between, like it says, 18 to 24 inches deep to place your post. Then you'll apply the fittings, and I'll talk about that on the next page, applying the fittings, stretching the mesh, and installing the gate. And let me go back just one more. I did include here a really nice video from Home Depot on the actual like installation process and how to do it. So if you want to watch that video later, you can do that too. And I'll make sure that that if you can't see them from the PDF, that I send the links separately to Tracy. So continuing the new installation, you apply the fittings to the post. So like back on the pictures, you're putting the braces, the rail cups, the dome caps on your post, and you know, bolting those all, and you know, your bolts should face the outside of the fence. And then stretching the mesh, which you know, you use your front fence stretcher and the come along to help you stretch the fence nice and taut. You don't want it where it's loose and moving on the bottom, and but you don't want it so tight that your links are getting deformed. So it's kind of one of those fine line things. And then install your gate. So and generally those come in kits. You buy your gate already put together, and then you just grab a little kit that has the latch and it has all the braces and everything you need just to put the gate in. So those are really nice. And then I added another little document here on how to construct a chain link fence, and it goes into a lot more like detail for each of those 5 steps, and it kind of walks you through with pictures and everything. So it's really nice too. Your measuring tips. So this is what I was talking about with your 3, 4, 5 method. When you're doing a corner, you can use wood stakes or masonry stakes, and your string, and then you stretch the string down to like the picture shows. So you want to measure and mark 3 foot down one line, and then measure 4 foot down the next line, and then there should be exactly 5 feet in between, diagonally between those 2 spots, and that gives you a really nice 90-degree angle corner. And it'll show you exactly where to put your post, so you can see the way that that's done there. Again, I put in several step-by-step procedures or additional information on the web just to kind of give you more information about installing the chain link fence with the visuals. And then, you know, it's always kind of interesting because you're like, okay, so there's different size gates. So how do I know how far apart my post should be for the gate? So you want to take your width of the gate, so the outside of the post on your gate, and then add 3.75 or 3 3/4 inches to the width of the gate before the terminal posts. So that would be the inside of the terminal post where your gate is going to be. And that is because about 1 3/4 inches is on the side where the gate is actually braced to the terminal post. And then the 2 inches is on the side where your latch is. So I put that in there because that one's, you know, kind of a common question. Fence repair and common issues. So I put in pretty much the most common issues, and then some videos on how to fix those things. But the most common issue is the post replacement or pole replacement, because, you know, I mean, they're galvanized, and so they last in the weather for a really long time. But, you know, things happen where maybe the concrete and the dirt moved, and so the post is loose or leaning, or you know, just from use or something, you know, the pole or the post will crack or start to rust or something like that. And so again, you just dig out the old one, and then when you put the new one in, like especially if it's like a loose post, if you dig the hole where the bottom of the hole is bigger than the top of the hole, then you're giving it some extra bracing to hold that pole in for the future. Snapped links or hole in your fence. I put a link in there to do that because it's pretty simple. And it takes a little bit of strength and a little finesse, but you basically take your pliers and undo around where the hole is or where the snapped links are, and you twist out your wire from that spot. And then so you want to do that on both sides of your hole, and then you just twist back in with your new mesh, and that will repair that hole. Sagging. So I put in a little video on how to stretch a chain link fence. So a common thing is that it wasn't stretched properly when it was installed, and so it begins to sag or something like that. So just the whole process of stretching is pretty simple. You use your fence stretcher and the come along, but there's a good video to kind of walk you through that too. Tension wire. So you can add tension wire to the bottom of your fence to help keep it straight, or if you're having trouble with like animals or something like that. Another thing, I didn't put it in here, but another thing, so like for instance, my neighbor's dog likes to push the bottom of the fence out and then dig underneath. So, and I was going to show you my fix for it, but shipping from Amazon is just taking a little bit longer than I expected, so I didn't get it done before the class. But I got some good galvanized extra duty or heavy duty tent stakes. And so kind of fill in the dirt and pound it down real good where he's dug holes, and then use the tent stakes to stake the bottom of the chain link fence to the ground so that he can't push it out and dig under there anymore. Any questions on this? No? Okay. Oh, well, and there we go. Time for questions. So I guess I can show you just kind of like the demo pieces, and then if you guys have questions as we go from there, we can do that. Or if you want to see one of the videos, most of them are pretty short, within like 2 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to stop sharing this so that you can see me full screen. And then, let's see. Oh my God. All right, so one of the things I was going to, so this is just the, oh, all right, I'm going to have to remove my background so that you can see. Okay, can you see this, everybody? Yes? Okay, good. All right, so this is just the top of a line post. So a terminal post is going to be a lot thicker. So I think it's a 2 5/8 inch, and this one is 1 5/8 inch. So this would be used in the middle of your fence for stretching the mesh. And so I was talking about earlier, like a saw or a pipe cutter or something like that. And so what I have is this heavy duty pipe cutter. And the reason I like it is because, I don't really have the arm strength to hold a reciprocating saw or something like that to not have it bounce around while I'm trying to cut the pipe the length that I want it. And so I really like this because, when I measure out, say I measure out with my measuring tape and I need my poles to be right at the spot. So I'll take a Sharpie or a pencil and I'll make my mark of how, after I set my post, and figure out how far I need to cut it down. And so then, I open this up and place it, and you can just see on the blade, line that blade of your pipe cutter up with the line that you're going to cut, and then tighten it down. And so then it's, sitting in the ground, and you just run it around here, and then it'll get a little loose. So then you tighten it up more, and then, okay, it's a lot easier when it's in the ground because you've got some stability. But, run it around until it's loose again, and then tighten it up a little bit more. And you just do this a couple of times, and then it pops right off. Okay, like I said, it's a lot easier when it's in the ground. I'll have Kate hold the pipe. Right, hold the pipe. Right. There we go. Pop off on this in a minute. As long as it doesn't hit my hand. Hand cream. Do not use hand cream before doing this. All right, come on. This is the true demo. Oh. There we go. So, but yes, again, I just find it a lot easier than trying to do that with a saw. Thanks for the clap, Jennifer. Let's see. So one more thing with your post. So, okay, my level is really big, but I'm going to just show you. So when you're posting the ground, you set it so it's in the cement, but the cement's not set yet. So when you want to level it, you can go by the fancy post level that's like slips over like a sleeve and levels out the whole thing, or you could just use one of these, but you want to do it on two sides. So at a 90-degree angle. So you do one side and then your 90-degree level from there, and check to see if your post is level before your concrete sets. Quick setting concrete generally sets pretty good within 30 minutes. So I'm going to do one post at a time, and take your time with it, but don't wait too long before you try to move those. So earlier in the presentation, there was a spot that said no more than 10 feet apart. I believe in one of the links that I have, it has the table of exactly how far apart each post should be, depending on how many square feet your project is. So like for instance, my property is only like a quarter acre. And so they're about 6 feet apart, which is pretty typical for the city homes and stuff like that. If you've got some big acreage or something like that, then 10 feet apart, but no more than 10 feet. So, see, I'm going to open up the chat. Oh, by the way, with the pipe cutter, make sure that you do not get one. So at Home Depot, they have all kinds of different pipe cutters, but you want one that goes far enough apart, for one. Two, you want to make sure you're getting one for metal pipe, not PVC pipe, because it won't cut like you need it to. So again, we've got some fence mesh here. So it's your mesh. And if you're trying to pull this out, so then you just start at the top and you loosen the top part tie, and then you just twist it out. And it might get a little hooked on the bottom, so you might just have to, help guide it a little bit. But you just turn it in a circle, and it will come all the way out. And then, save that piece, because when you try to put in your new mesh and you want it to match, you do the same thing. You put it in and you twist it back the other way, which would be counterclockwise, until you get down, and then attach it with your pliers. And then, so your fencing pliers, these are really nice. So they're kind of a nice multi-use tool. Like, you can use them for chain link fencing, wood fencing, all kinds of stuff. So on this end, you've got this little hammer, and it's not as strong as like a normal hammer or something like that, but it's good for like some repair work if you need to, the fencing staples. So if you're doing wood fencing, they have fencing staples. You can hit those fencing staples in. And then again, this claw side, that's good for pulling staples out. And then you've got wire cutters on both sides, and they're actually really heavy duty wire cutters. So on either side, and, it's a good thick piece of metal there, and just pops right through it. So and then on the top side, this is really nice. They're kind of like two pliers at the top, which for one, that's really good for holding fencing staples. So you can hold the fencing staple with this, and then use a hammer to get it started, and you don't hurt your fingers if you miss the staple, for one. Two, they're big enough where you can like put some double-stranded wire or all kinds of stuff in here to, move these around and do stuff with. So you got two good pliers up on top, 2 wire cutters, hammer, and a claw. So that's a great tool to have, and they're not expensive. I think $15 to $20 for that. Your fence stretcher. So, you put that on your mesh, and then you have your come along hook here, and then it's hooked a little bit ways down on your post or something solid, and then you ratchet it, and it'll pull your fence and stretch it until, but it does it nice and evenly, because this is nice big fence stretcher, so you can do a good 4-foot fence with no problem. I think you could even do the 6-foot, but I would be definitely a little bit more careful. You might need 2 of them. So, and then let's see. If you're doing a gate, it comes in a nice little kit, and it has all the little parts all ready for you, and your bolts and everything all in one little kit. Definitely want to get some good these little post clips, bag of post clips to help tie those around the posts, or so every, I don't remember how far apart those are. I think there's 3. So for like a 6-foot length of fence, there's 3 of these along the top post rail, and that's documented too in the links. And then I just also like to have a nice bag of the bolts, because you just never know how many bolts you're going to need. And I do have a come like a super big one for fencing. I mean, this is a 1 ton, and so you got your 2 hooks, one side for your fence stretcher, and then one side a little further down, and then you just ratchet it as you're going. So, and it folds up all nice and easy and stores in this box. So I got that on Amazon. It wasn't too bad either. 25 bucks, maybe 30. So yeah, so that's kind of all I had to really show you today, because my tent stakes didn't come in, and it was raining all last week, so I didn't get my post in. Any other questions or comments or anything?
And feel free to unmute yourselves as well too, if you'd like to. That's easier than the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody? No questions?
Well, good. I'm glad that it was helpful.
Thanks. Oh, go ahead, Sandi.
I was going to say, it's one of those things that feels scary, but it's really not very difficult to do. And even like, I did have a situation. So this house is old, and my gates and everything were put up long before I moved in here 20 years ago. One of them was kept catching on the ground. It had sunken a little bit, and the posts were too close together. And so, it had a hard time closing and everything. So basically instead of like pulling everything out of the ground and starting from scratch, your hinges, we just angled them so that the gate was like about ½ an inch outside the post. So they were angled a little bit, which caused less room in between the post and the gate that was needed, and it allows it to open and shut with no issues. All right.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Sandy. So Sandy will send me her presentation, and then I will send out both a copy of that and the video link tomorrow to everybody. So.
Actually, I have a question, a quick one.
Sure.
I have a wooden fence in the front of my yard and on the side. It's just 3 foot. I was looking to, would I be able to replace the 3 foot boards with 5 foot, like just unscrew them and put a taller fence on there? Or fence boards on there? Or do you have to take out the whole post and re-put it in, like to match the 5 foot?
So you're going to keep it wood?
Yes, for the front, I was thinking wood. I did want to do the chain, but I don't know if I could do that after looking. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So your posts definitely need to be as tall as your fence.
Okay.
And so you would either have to replace the post, or you could build a post around the old post, if that makes sense. They're not as long lasting though. So they're more likely to get, water or, wood rot or something like that inside of it if you build around it. So it's, if you want it to last a long time, I would just replace them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Anything else?
Do you guys think that chain link lasts longer than a wood fence? Like, just your personal opinion?
My personal opinion, yes. And a lot less maintenance, because with the wood fence, I'm not like a huge proponent for wood fences for a few different reasons. So yeah, people like them for privacy, but often, and to keep your neighborhood safe and everything, it's actually better if you can see through the fence, because people will hide on the other side and you can't see somebody hiding on the other side. And so it's actually more of a danger to have some kind of privacy fence like that. The chain link fence, you can see through, and I mean, you can put the slats in it, which, I don't think are very pretty, but they do work to give you a little more privacy, but you can still see through them enough to see if somebody's sitting back there. Another proponent that I prefer chain link over wood is because wood requires maintenance, a lot of maintenance. So you have to, constantly do the upkeep to keep the wood from, rotting. And so, yeah, it's those are my personal things.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Great questions and great feedback. Nice presentation, Sandy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys have a great evening, and I will send everything off to Tracy in the morning.
Sounds great. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.